Facebook. How's it going?
Facebook sees all.
Facebook sees all.
It's tracking all your movements.
Exactly. Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Jason Tucker, and this is WP Water Coolers, WP Blab, episode number 136. Today's topic is going insane for website ads with Dave Markowski. What's up, Dave? How's it going, man?
Hey, Jason. It's going great. How are you doing?
Awesome, man. It's going good. It's going good. We usually do this thing where, like, Bridget introduces herself, and then I introduce myself.
Okay.
Could you introduce yourself a little bit? Tell us a bit about yourself.
Absolutely. I am David Markowski, and I am the AM PM for Pixel Jar.
Still the AM PM, huh?
AM PM. Yeah, I'm always open. So that's the account manager and project manager for the guys. The guys being Brandon Dove and Jeff Zinn. It's their agency, and I've been working with them for several years now. And we have another developer who works with the team, Nate Conley, and together we do a lot of crazy stuff, including the topic of today. We're going to be talking about one of our premium plugins, which is AdSanity, which is a simplified ad management plugin for WordPress.
Awesome, man. You know, every day the ice cream truck drives by
really loud. They've got that
at exactly
up,
7
right?
o'clock. So that's what's playing right now. So I was like, okay, Dave, I'm just going to continue to hit mute.
I like how loud they've become in recent years. Like when we were little, we had to listen for the ice cream man.
Right?
I know it's coming. Yeah.
Well, I'm Jason Tucker. You can find me over at Jason Tucker on Twitter. My website is jasontucker.blog. I do this show as well as another show called WP Water Cooler. And we record that over on WPWaterCooler.com, and you can go take a look at that over there. That happens on Fridays. So if you're interested in checking it out, you can definitely go do that.
What time is that on Fridays, Jason?
Oh, it's at 11 o'clock a.m. Pacific.
Pacific. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. We have a good time. So feel free to go take a look at that. And you're watching this show, WP Blab. Thank you very much for doing that. And I also want to thank ServerPress, makers of desktop server, as well as Kinsta and Vendor Fuel for helping us out with this show today. ServerPress, makers of desktop server, they make local WordPress development easy. Check them out over at serverpress.com. So let's talk a little bit about this stuff.
Sure.
I've done websites for companies that need to run ads on their site. A lot of the times they just take an ad code from AdSense or something like that, or one of their competitors, slap it on the website, hit the save button, and that's it. We're good to go.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
it. I've also had ones where we had like full on crazy ad rotators and all sorts of just like, they want this thing to be changed and it needs to be this and this percentage. And you have ad blocks all over the place and stuff. And so that's where, like, you know, your product comes into play, where you can really kind of do that sort of stuff.
Yeah. So I think like back in the ancient history of the product, the guys had an issue where they had a website and they required not only ads served from an ad network, like you're describing, like AdSense, but they also needed to handle on-site ads. So they wanted to have a tool that could do both of those things well. And then they also knew that if you're going to host your ads on your own site, you need to have some way of tracking that information, right? The ad networks, they'll have all their tracking from the ad code that's being submitted. But for your locally hosted stuff, you need some kind of tracking for clicks and views, and that's kind of how you can monetize in a little bit better. So they birthed AdSanity, and that's what it does. I mean, it just makes placing the ads very easy, creating ads in a bunch of different formats. The two main formats being locally hosted and from a network server. But in the locally hosted ads, in recent years, we started a redevelopment for AdSanity. It had been running smoothly and small and quietly for a long time. But around 2016, we started diving into the code and we had like a backlog of features that we wanted to add. So we actually had an opportunity to put some development times towards it. So one of the big things that we added was we support HTML5 ads as an ad type. So that allows people to create stuff like video ads and anything that you can put into an HTML format is now servable. We also added text ads as a smaller way, a smaller footprint to have just ads that are based on text. Put it in, add a URL, and then there you go. You can see.
There you go.
We'll talk about some of the learning that we've done along the way in a minute.
Yeah, so, I bet.
Yeah. So we did a big kind of polish off the code in 2016, and then 2017 we did the Year of AdSanity, where we one of the reasons that they needed the tool, and one of the methodologies behind creating it, was to create something that was light enough that it wouldn't have negative impacts on the site, and then also modular enough that if folks needed certain additional features, those could be done via add-ons. And we have free add-ons, stuff that if you're a subscriber to AdSanity, it's an annual model, you get access to those for just by being a subscriber. Yeah. And then we have some pro add-ons. So depending on your subscriber level, you may have access to them, or you may not, and you can add them on as you need to. So we did the Summer of AdSanity, and we released, I think it was 6 add-ons that were mostly features that folks had asked us, hey, does your plugin do this? And we continuously get questions, hey, does your plugin do this? And and depending on what it is, the answer is yes or no. And we add those to a roadmap that we definitely come back to and say, oh, let's build that. So 2017 was the big push, and added a lot of features to the plugin. And then 2018 was sort of a look back. Now that we had added those things, we did just sort of a refinement period, right? Just a lot of making sure that everything we had added, it was working good. We addressed a few bug reports that had come in over the year. It's bound to happen. And then and then we kind of maintained that forward momentum. So this year, we have released one additional pro add-on, and we've got another one in the pipeline that we think is going to come out this year. We're in testing on it right now, and we've just been keeping the plugin up to date, more regular updates, and just trying to keep involved in what's going on in the ad space in general, which ad space is changing online, right? I mean,
big time. Yeah, and especially if you're trying to sell ads yourself, and you're wanting to have those ads run on your sites, you're doing those locally hosted ads. You need to have your own tracking. You need to have your own advertiser reporting, so your advertiser can log in and look at it. I'm literally looking at all of your add-ons. But it's like each one of those things is like ridiculously important, because when you use something like AdSense or any of those type of competitor pieces to it, where you have like a network within a network within a network, it's like they're all reselling each other's stuff. That stuff gets really scary. Like, you need to be able to look at all of the data and say, my ad was viewed this many times. And with that, you have no control over the ads that are being displayed on your website as well. It could be, if Dave was shopping for a car and then Dave came to the website, all those ads may be So your ads are following you around all over the place as well. So, for me, for WP Water Cooler, at least, when I go and put one of our ads that we're doing here, we're just sticking the ad graphic on the site, which means that I'm not really getting traffic or counts of number of clicks and number of views or any of that sort of thing. It's just the business model that we're currently running under. But with that, you can figure out, the impressions that you have. And these are all the things that come for free with with AdSense, but they don't come for free with you or your competitors, with
the image placed in sidebar.
You have to build out some additional things. So I can see how that would be that's worth the $19 a year for each additional thing. It makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it may be. And again, I think the key there is figuring out what you need. We honestly we sell a lot more of the developers licenses, and now we have the lifetime license as an offering. So most of the time people have all this stuff, and then we'll occasionally we'll get a support ticket where we need to then look at their site, and we can see they've added all the things, and you can tell it's kind of like that impetus to like, oh, I'm going to try all these things and see how they all go together. And and it's kind of like, you have to write the support ticket to that in a very, we noticed that you had all the plugins installed, and if you don't need all the features, you may not want to have all of those installed at the same time. But we do cross tests, so everything does work together.
Sure.
But there is a lot of what I consider like more specific pieces. There's a big prevalence for people who are running ads to go for an ad rotator. I don't know what it is, but man, everyone likes the idea of, I'll have one space with 3 ads. And, because we work as a development house, we often talk to people about not having carousels necessarily on their site. And then we're kind of like, okay, now they're adding a carousel with the ad content. And, you try and talk about, is that the best methodology for doing that? So I think there's definitely strategy beyond just adding a fantastic tool to handle the advertisements. You need to be thinking about like, what am I serving my users, right? Like when you're running this model, you start to think of your advertisers, and they are definitely, that's where your money is coming from. So they are an important aspect of the site. But I think you also need to consider your users. So we've created some plugins that maybe are a little less popular than others, like the ad block detection, because we don't feel you should try and circumvent an ad blocker, because it kind of works against the idea of having the user in control of things. We created a cool way so that you can put a message saying, hey, we see that you're running an ad blocker.
Like when mine just popped up on your site.
Exactly right. So I think it's been a really good learning experience as the plugin has grown, and we've definitely, like, we are starting to see our best months ever for the plugin, which is always kind of like it, we have like internal Slack parties of like, hey, this is that's great. We just on a positive note, we aren't seeing our like record support tickets. So
great, which is good. Every time a version comes out, you go, okay, here we go.
It's honestly, we're at a really great position for development on the plugin. And
so how could a marketer who's somebody who's running their own site, how could they use a tool like this to do house ads? So if they have their own products that they want to advertise, cross promote with on the site, do that sort of thing, how could somebody use this to kind of pull that off?
Yeah, I mean, very easily. You can create ads with you set the URL in the back end for each ad. It's a slightly more complex custom post type, creating an ad. So those would be ads hosted on site most likely. You'd probably have assets for it. And then you just link to where you need to link to. I mean, it's as simple as that.
That's pretty cool.
We actually had a client who came to us with that request, and was leveraging it for that way, because they were putting their ads in one section of the site, their blog area, and then their products were obviously in another section. So it was like, if we were writing a blog post about this product, we would like to have them sent over to the right spot. And so yeah, very easy. That's kind of like the simplest of solutions for it.
Yeah.
I think what was interesting for us is, at the same time we were doing the development for the site, we started like redesigning the site. I think I started with the guys in 2015. And at that point, I think the plugin had been around since 2009, and they were still using the original site that they had launched with. So we engaged Robert Ninehouse, who is the unofficial fifth Pixel Jar member. So Robert did a whole new logo design for AdSanity, and then we went ahead and did a website redesign. And beyond just the beautiful visuals on the site, we also used Beaver Builder to build it, so that we knew we would be able to make incremental changes to things a lot more simply than what we had leveraged before. I want to say it was on an old Genesis platform previously, which, still a great tool, but not the same as, using a builder tool to control the site.
So was it one of those things like even Dave could do it? Was that what they ended up saying?
That's really the litmus test. Yeah. Can we let Dave touch it? Yeah. It's really.
No, that's cool. I mean, when you're dealing with sites that are very large sites, you have caching issues that you need to worry about. I know that you guys have add-ons that deal with caching stuff, especially when it comes to using third-party ads, making sure if you're doing any type of ad rotation or any of those sorts of things, those are stuff to take a look at and kind of make sure that that's being handled correctly.
That's absolutely the biggest points of the biggest trouble areas for us tend to be different caching methodologies. And we do have some like notifications on caching because, by having caching active, you are actively working against the idea of having automated rotation on a plugin.
Right.
And then certain hosts actually deal with caching in different ways. So we have some stock answers. We've had enough tickets that we have figured out what the issue is. So we actually use Zendesk for our ticketing. So we've got macros built in that it's like, oh, they're on that platform.
There we go. Click
the answer. Yeah. So we try to learn, we try to be smart, and we try to be efficient, and we also try to be fast on our support tickets. So it is definitely a piece that comes to me, since I'm most of what I do is communications for the team as the account manager, project manager. A lot of what I'm doing is talking or emailing at some point or another. So we have the tickets pop up right away, and we try to jump on them very, very quickly for customers. And it's always nice to get that, hey, thanks for the quick answer,
right.
that kind of stuff. A lot of learning. I actually feel that running support for AdSanity has helped me in understanding a lot more of the development issues in WordPress in general, because I can see how the pieces are touching in ways that I wouldn't have been readily apparent. Just Legoing some stuff together using Beaver Builder and plugins.
Right. And so does that mean that I haven't used AdSanity on a site for a little while, but are you guys supporting or supporting either block builders or like Beaver Builder or any of that sort of stuff, Gutenberg and all those sorts of things?
I don't know if that post went up this week, but yeah, definitely. For AdSanity, we now have native Gutenberg blocks. So if you install AdSanity and you are not using the classic editor and you're in the Gutenberg space, we've got native blocks right in there, so you can drop in a single or a ad group right in, and it looks at what your groups are, looks at what your ads are, and just boom, there they are. Nice. And then we actually did build Beaver Builder modules as well. So if you're using Beaver Builder, standard AdSanity comes with those modules. You'll see them listed in the modules down at the bottom. AdSanity, same kind of thing. You can drag out elements, and
that's cool.
Yeah, that's very cool.
That's good.
Yeah, that's good stuff. We have a couple other builders in mind, targeting. Obviously, we're looking at market share, who's got the biggest space.
Sure.
But baby steps. Development.
Baby steps. Yeah. Well, every time you add a feature.
Exactly. Yeah. Which is why, that's part of the why we have them contained as well, right? You want to be able to all right, let's deal with this thing. All right, now let's add in the other components and see how they interact. And theoretically, people aren't using, Beaver Builder and Divi on the same site. Theoretically.
Sometimes when you run two SEO plugins, you get more SEO out of it. So I totally get it,
Yeah.
Well, if you don't mind, Dave, I'd like to pay a bill real quick here. So let me Oh, I want to say thank you very much for Kinsta for helping us out for this particular episode. If you can go over to kinsta.com, you can take a look at their offerings, all the stuff that they have going on over there. Let me tell you a little bit about Kinsta real quick. So if you're tired of unreliable or slow hosting, check out Kinsta.com, who takes managed WordPress hosting to the next level. Powered by Google Cloud, all of their plans include PHP 7.3, SSH access for developers, one-click staging area, 20 global data centers, free SSL, free CDN, 24-hour expert support. And my favorite part that web hosts do is they help you with migrating your site free of charge. So go take a look over at their website over at kinsta.com. We really appreciate for them helping us out with this episode. Thanks, Dave. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. Not that you had a choice, but thank you.
We love Kinsta, right?
Yeah, Kinsta's good stuff.
Yeah, they've been involved with a couple of the WordCamps, I think.
Oh yeah, big time. So let's get more into the marketing side of this, and even of your own products itself. So, when we were kind of batting around this idea of you being on the show and how we can talk about the things that you guys have going on and all of that, like the development houses themselves don't usually do a whole lot of advertising. I mean, you see every once in a while you have the ones that are like, check us out, we're the best ever, we build websites, it's amazing. You're like, all right, that's cool, but like it's not a sexy thing. It's just like you're building a website or whatever. Cool. But when you build an app, or you build some type of software, or you're building software as a service, or something that just has something like that going on, that's something that's totally marketable, and it's something that you guys can push that information out. So you guys have a blog. How's that going for you?
It does well, actually. Our traffic on AdSanityPlugin.com in general is up. Although I have to say that we've sort of modified our blogging strategy a little bit. We have another premium plugin that we sell, ClickRanger Pro, and for a while when we added ClickRanger Pro, we were working towards trying to blog on all three platforms. And resource-wise, there was just no way that was going to continue in any kind of smart way, right? So, so we acknowledged that pretty quickly. And so what we started doing is we do all of our blogging on PixelJar. PixelJar is the main entity that's, more than 50% of what we do is PixelJar. So that is definitely where we want to draw eyes. And then we write blog posts, and when they're specific to our other products, we send them to the right website. We advertise the products on the PixelJar site. There's a little bit of shyness. I think part of PixelJar's ethos and mission statement is to not strut, to not be, we're not super prideful. It's really funny. We're terrible about talking about ourselves. But what is funny is I'm great about talking about the guys, like all three of our developers, Nate, Brandon, Jeff. They're some of the smartest folks. And I love being able to brag about them. We may not be able to talk about ourselves like I'm the best project, but I feel very confident in talking about their abilities and what we do. So so we started to get a little more aggressive on the website. We realized like people get what we're doing. They understand why we're talking about AdSanity at the bottom of the site. So we're driving traffic over to them from the main talking point. And that has worked out very well for us, because not only do we get some additional traffic on PixelJar, but the numbers on the AdSanity site have been very strong and show a growth trend. And the growth trend mirrors kind of the sales trend that we're seeing. So
yeah. Are you guys doing any email marketing?
We do a little bit of email marketing. It's an opt-in. Obviously, we always obey the rules and are very forthcoming. But we do a monthly newsletter, and it's mostly just a recap of what we're doing as far as the blogging over the course of the month. Sometimes, hopefully, we're drawing attention to it in a different way in the newsletter, so that it's kind of like, hey, we wrote about that. There's any kind of like important news that's like might be relevant to the upcoming community. We talk about the upcoming WordCamps in there, that kind of stuff. And then that's about it for email marketing. So
that's cool.
Most of our marketing effort has been kind of focused on like looking at conversion on the website, because I mentioned we'd done that rebuild and we had used the Beaver Builder elements. The next step for us was we actually put ClickRanger Pro on the site. So
what? You used your own product?
I know.
Are you kidding me?
We knew a guy.
We knew a guy. So you got a free license code. That's what happened.
Yeah, we got a hookup. So we were able to start to see what are people doing once they're there, and then we've kind of taken that a step further. We started using Hotjar. A Crazy Egg. There's a bunch of them, but we like that Hotjar was anonymizing that data in a really good way, especially with things like the GDPR and the upcoming California legislation, whose name I forget.
Yep.
Yeah, it would be so.
You say it 3 times, man. It hit you hard.
We like that was anonymous, but it shows us exactly what people are doing. And it not only helps us like kind of help their journey, but it's pointed out silly things like people are trying to click this text because it looks like a link, but it's not a link. Let's make it a link so it's going to the right spot. And it's things you could not learn any other way. You can see like if you hit a strange device size, it's like, what device are they using that's looking like that? So just squeeze their browser, and you start to find trends, and you can much more accurately decide on what things to make changes to based on direct feedback. And then we've mixed that with using A/B tests. So when we see something and we make a hypothesis on what would improve that, the Google Optimize tool, if you haven't taken a look at that.
Yeah. Google Optimize is really cool.
Very cool. They've done a very good job. And so we've got some different A/B testing happening. So I know that's not directly marketing, but for us, that's definitely like if the ultimate goal of marketing is conversion, right? For us, that has been the most powerful step in the process. Is the things that we always tell our clients who are building websites to do is have a goal, and then make sure you're asking for that goal, and then make sure you're measuring that goal. We just started to really put into place, and it feels much more repeatable. It feels like, okay, now we've learned some valuable lessons here, and let's not waste as much time on the next thing. So it's allowed us to iterate more frequently, and to us, conversions are kind of like SEO, right? Anytime you're embarking on that, it's not something that gets completed.
Yep.
It's something that is an ongoing process. So you get your data, and then you try and improve that data over time. So it's been really cool. Yeah.
So what other advertising methods have you guys used for kind of advertising this? Have you guys done any WordCamps? Do you do Facebook ads? Do you do Instagram ads? Are you sponsoring a vlogger who's putting on makeup? Like, what do you got going on?
Wow.
I know, right?
That was very specific.
They're my direct competitors on YouTube.
Wow. Could I get a name? I mean,
no. I'm not. No.
We have tinkered with Facebook ads. We've even tinkered with some Google straight Google campaigns. We haven't seen as much success with those. I wouldn't say that we wouldn't come back to that. Right now, what we're focusing on, I'm trying to think of some of the tactics that we have going on for our strategies. We're focused a little bit more small scale. We've definitely sponsored camps as well.
Sure.
Yeah, many times.
Many times, yep.
And again, it's always good to be known in the community, right? I mean, there's that kind of name recognition is your target audience.
Right.
We've done some affiliate stuff with some of the ad services. So
Mhm.
you had mentioned AdSense before, but there's a lot of other folks that are in this space.
Oh, yeah.
We actually built an add-on for video intelligence. They provide like a video ad service. So their ad, those ads are videos themselves. So we partnered with them, built this plugin, and it is part of the ecosystem. And I think it's one of our free add-ons, and it's with every version of AdSanity. So if you sign up for their service, you can automatically run their video ads directly in. So we've tried to look at different ways, and we're always looking for new ones. I think, and we've talked to friends who also have premium plugins, right? And talked about their successes using things like Google or AdSense specifically.
Right.
And I think it can be done, but I think budgetarily it's, I think we don't know.
There's a bit of a risk. There's a bit of a risk.
Well, there's a cost.
Yeah.
So I think we don't know enough about how we want to place to make that our primary methodology at this point. But we have a big list. We do a weekly product meeting where we talk about what's going on with our products and what we're working on for the next one. And so we definitely talk tactics in that call. We did learn, I want to say 2 years ago, that specials work.
Black Friday is coming up.
Having a holiday sale works. We are doing Cyber Monday week-long sale.
Nice.
That will be coming up. We'll have announcements out about what that's going to be. So
you and everybody else in my entire inbox is going to be full of all of them.
I was going to say, and the trick there now is also not to try and like get the word out as a solo person, but you want to be included with all the appropriate roundups, right?
Right.
So if you're selling a premium plugin, make sure that you're talking to the big players and see if you can get into their post about it, because they're going to have a lot more followers than you do. And people are looking for those, what's on sale. It really did work. We had prior to that been very much like, well, you don't need this. We shouldn't put it on sale. It cheapens it. And, the reality is no, people like a sale, and getting eyes on it is never a bad thing at any time of the year. So
episode 118 on WP Blab, we actually did a whole conversation with Mark Benzicane about how to do Cyber Monday, how to do Giving Tuesday, how to do Black Friday, like that entire thing. Super interesting to hear it from somebody who's been like just throwing all their stuff at it and saying, how does this work? And we want to do it again. Like we gotta find the next one and be like, or Bridget and I have been kind of contemplating this, of even like going through and looking at all the emails that we get and just critique the heck out of them.
Ooh. Make sure they're not sponsors.
Oh, they won't be sponsors. They won't be sponsors. They would be all the ones, and I have to go and sign up for all these newsletters now to get them. So
I think
we're coming after you.
I was gonna say, I think seeing the roundup is like a great idea. Like I know that as a user, and again, because of my role, I am less in the dashboard of WordPress and more, dealing with, talking about projects and what the goals are and that kind of work. But the first few years that I just had started with WordPress, and I was, building client sites or sites for myself, Black Friday was the best. So I don't think I would have. I have my server press, my desktop server license.
Yep.
And I'm sure that I picked it up either on Black Friday or thereabouts. And I don't think I would have my Gravity Forms license if I hadn't picked it up there.
Right.
So, those are, those are two premium plugins that I still swear by. So and
those guys and gals have made tons of money off of just us telling the people at WordCamps, at WordPress meetups, just our clients themselves, like, hey, you need to buy this thing. I only use Gravity Forms. I'm sorry, you have to use this. This is what we're doing. I only use Ninja Forms. This is what I'm using. I'm only using this. This is what I'm using.
Yeah.
You know, you have all those tools. So when you get something like that, especially when you're getting it at a good price, that tends to get you thinking like, you know, I got this at a good price. I don't remember how I got it or why I got it, but man, this is a great product. And so you tend to tell people, you never tell somebody like, dude, I spent tons of money on this thing and it sucks, you know?
Well, but you know what, you tell people like I'm about to do right now. I mean, like for a while I was in it was the Sumo list.
Yes.
Yeah.
AppSumo and all them.
And they really did AppSumo, right? So they do have great deals. They have great deals in there. But I bought several things that I probably wouldn't have bought if it wasn't a great deal. And I don't remember, like, why did I buy that? And then every once in a while, there's a gem. But it's so easy when you're talking about something that to me is a necessity already, like Desktop Server, and then it's on sale. You're gonna go, okay.
Well, I mean, sure.
Okay.
I've been going around with 3 sites on my site, and I keep removing one to add one and doing this all. It's like, come on, just
I'm happy to pay it every year. It's a great product. And in my history, I was working with Dave Jesh when he was working on WP Site Sync, which is another fantastic product. It doesn't have as wide of a use space as Desktop Server does, but man, when it's a solution, and it is phenomenal. In fact, we were talking to a client today about it. Like it's easy to be exposed to those kind of products and be like, put this on your site.
Yeah, I've had people that listen to the ad and then they say, well, how do I migrate it from my local to my development site and then to my actual production site?
Yep.
Oh, let me show you.
Just stop. Get that.
Yeah. No, I've been adding that into the mix when I go and talk about it on the shows.
I mean, it's a dynamite product. So
yeah. And all of those guys are all of those folks are killing it when they come to either doing on-site advertising of being able to like put the blog posts out there telling people about the new features that are being added or anything like that, pushing it out to your mailing lists and those sorts of things. I'd imagine you guys are probably on Twitter and putting your stuff out on Twitter. You're putting your stuff most likely on Facebook. Hey, a new thing just came out, or I spent hours working on this thing. Please go download the update. Any of those sorts of things.
We tend not to do too much pleading, but yeah, definitely. We're definitely on the social medias. And you had asked about emailing. One of the things that we started doing is in talking with our friend Blair at MemberPress. We started doing a nice drip campaign. So after you've purchased AdSanity, we send you emails that kind of hold your hand through the process, creating an ad hosted on the site so that you have some idea of what you've purchased. Now, more than likely, once you purchased it, you started tearing through it and, have already sent me a support ticket saying like, I don't know how to do this. I'm like, okay, take a step.
Right. That's good for upsell too.
Definitely. Yeah. But I mean, obviously we keep that towards the later end of the drip, but to me that is, it's not really marketing, but it's definitely reinforcing the sales process. It's making someone who's made that decision feel better about having made it. And then, I lost the thread. There's another component to that, but
well, if Bridget was here, she would correct you in saying that everything's marketing.
Well, then we can just talk
literally
about
what you're doing right now is marketing. And I'm like, okay, Bridget, I get it, but I'm watching TV right now. She's like, I know, but it's marketing. I'm like, how? Tell me how watching Netflix is marketing.
Yeah. She'll tell you. I know she will. I know she's got it's like Kevin Bacon. There's at least 7 connections or less. She'll have it talking about marketing. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I'm sorry I messed up your thread there of kind of working out.
No. It's just my mind's going through like, I know we have the drip campaign, but then we also do something else with people who have signed up, like we definitely have, like when there's an important update, we will alert the entire user base, like, hey, this update may change this kind of a setting. We try not to make those kind of changes, but over the history of the product, there's been like licensing is a perfect example. For the longest time, you had to manually update. There was no automated updates. At a certain point, we made the shift because why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
And then we needed to just let everybody know, hey, there is a new update. You're not seeing it in your dashboard. Go get the new update so that you can, then see it from then on.
No, that's smart.
Yeah.
The drip campaign thing is super interesting because if you do it right, you're not bugging the person. You're informing them of the thing that's going on. Like, hey, this is day 2. Have you thought about doing this? It's day 3 now. You spent some money on our product. Have you thought about doing this thing as well?
It really is about just the value of the product. We started doing videos. So we started recording just, here's a simple how-to video. I haven't really checked the views lately, but those are in the drips. Those are on the website. That was the other thread. Is we built out.
I knew we'd get to it.
Yeah, no, it would come around. So we built out a big help section on the AdSanity site. If you go to help, there's actually a guide, and the guide walks through like all of the common pieces that you would expect to be able to perform with the plugin, so that you can, creating an ad, placing an ad, and then all the different methods for doing so. And then we've also included the videos where appropriate. And those videos are being updated, which is why I was actually thinking of the plugin, the Gutenberg blocks and the Gutenberg modules, because we just recorded new videos for this. So you can.
How are you feeling that out? Has that been a pretty good solution to showing people? Because it's like when you want to teach somebody, they need to read it, they need to hear it, they need to have it explained to them, they need to have it visually shown to them, and then they need to teach somebody else as well. So like all those things need to make the thing that is education. So how are you seeing that as something that's working for you?
I mean, I think that the videos are the easiest way in a lot of the time to convey what is needed. I know that when I'm answering tickets, if I'm answering something that's already in the guide, I provide those links straight over to the guide, because I figure, one, why rewrite the entire solution? Or sometimes I will give here's the solution. You can find details here. But it also shows them, hey, there is a guide here. So if you want to dig in a little bit more, this place has all the questions that you could possibly ask, hopefully. And, we add new pages as we need to. Like sometimes having the information in 2 different spots is for people who are coming to it like, my mind's trying to do this. A lot of times we are people are coming to AdSanity from other ad tools. So they're trying to fit in the same methodology that ad plugin was working in, and you can't necessarily do that. Ad units are a different thing to us than they are in many plugins.
Right. Yeah. Especially
a
lot of them
fantastic. The guide with the videos has been great.
That's cool. Yeah. Education's good. Education's good. And sometimes if you're not the kind of, it sounds like you guys are doing these yourselves, but if you're the kind of, if you're somebody who isn't good at doing this stuff, you're great at coding, you suck at public speaking, you suck at all these things, hire somebody else to do those videos for you as well. And if it's not something you can do, then, I haven't watched your videos. I'm not critiquing anything here.
Doing, at least for AdSanity, but both Jeff and Brandon are pretty good talkers as well. So I unfortunately can't edit them out there either.
We get a lot of folks that are in the same space that you are in, that are looking to how to do, how to market their products, how to market their stuff. And especially if you're getting those videos that are out there that are showing how your product works on YouTube. YouTube is the second place, sometimes the first place that people go to figure out what's going on here. Us even mentioning that, your product on this video right here that's being streamed on YouTube, somebody is going to absolutely do a search for it, and they're going to find either this video or they're going to find one of your explainer videos that's going to explain how to actually use the product.
That's
And a
right.
lot of times, if you don't have that video on there, that video is showing the person who doesn't want to download the trial or doesn't want to download the freemium product or doesn't want to do any of that stuff, how this product works, especially when you bolt on all the additional pieces. So I'll go through and be like, oh, they're not even using custom post types? What are they using? Nah, I don't even want this thing. This thing isn't even something I want to mess with. Like they built their own database tables. Okay, what's the reason for that? You know, there's like those sorts of things that you want to look at to kind of figure out like what is going on here and why are they doing this?
Totally. I completely
Dave,
agree.
I hate to tell you this, but one more time here. I need to pay one more bill real quick. But before we do that, I want to let you know that that we're going to be doing a tool or tip of the week, and so we're going to be sharing that. So if you don't have your tool or tip of the week ready, Dave, get it ready because we're going to talk about it right now. So tool or tip of the week is brought to you by Vendor Fuel. Vendor Fuel. Go over to let's see here. So Vendor Fuel is a next generation shopping cart plugin that will ignite your e-commerce. Built using AngularJS, Vendor Fuel lets you keep your customers on your website for the entire checkout experience. Start a 90-day free trial and ignite your e-commerce over at vendorfuel.com. Vendor Fuel. I can't click a button and read at the same time.
Apparently not. Yeah.
Yet.
That sounds pretty cool. That I want to check that out. I mean, I just made
that one sounds good. E-commerce is the name of the game for a lot of people in doing WordPress stuff. So
it is.
Yep.
And this is the time of year.
Yeah, definitely. So tour tip of the week. Do you want to start us off?
Yeah, I can do that. Do you
want
to don't you have a graphic?
Oh, I do have a graphic. Dun, dun, dun. Check you out. You reminded me to click the buttons.
Okay, so my tool tip of the week is a service, and it is called Calendly, and you've probably seen it. For the longest time, we've resisted a calendar service. You know, we try to keep costs under control, but I just found myself scheduling so many meetings and looking at my openings and writing an email, and I even had macros in my dash for it where I could all right, drop it. And I finally, I did their trial period. And what Calendly does, it connects into your Google Calendar, which is what we were using. I'm sure it connects into others. I think it connects into the Apple Calendar directly, probably connects to Outlook, although I'm not going to talk about that. But it connects in, it knows when you don't have something scheduled, and you're able to set your hour range. And I now send people a link to schedule their own call, which for some you might think, oh, that's kind of impersonal, except there's like some fantastic, for them, it's much easier because they can see my day, they can see the next day. If they see something the following week that's available, that's better for them, they're not limited to whatever. Typically I send them 3 or 4 days, depending on what the meeting is about. But this gives them carte blanche to pick the time that's best for them. It also shows it to them in their time zone, which is a huge, I don't know how many times we've missed a call or been waiting for someone to pop on and they were like, we're in the different time zone. And, I definitely added it to my macro at a certain point along the way, but now it's all just presented for them. So it's saved me a ton of time, as well as kind of making things seem a little more professional, I think. And I have 2 different, you can set up a number of meetings. So like I have an introductory meeting for when I'm playing account manager. And then I have 1 meeting for when I'm playing project manager. So, people know how to start hitting me. So far it's worked.
URLs too, like these little short URLs, like, I need a 30-minute one, a 15-minute one. You just like copy paste, boom, done.
And they have a little Chrome extension, so I can just grab my URLs straight out of my little Chrome extension whenever I want to. So I will probably have more meetings, like an hour long, I'm sure, is one thing. I tend to try and keep meeting time to a minimum. But the next step probably for PixelJar will be, depending on how powerful it is for me, adding in the rest of the team, because they also have some great group features. So if a client needs to talk to a developer, for example, being able to pull in that resource may be something that it becomes worthwhile. Yeah. So
yeah, for like pre-sales calls and that sort of thing. There's all sorts of ways you can really use that.
I was going to say for pre-sales, I tend not to try and bring a developer in unless it's a plugin or something very technical. But yeah, you know how it is. But yes, that's Calendly, and I like it a lot.
That's awesome. Awesome, man. Thank you for that.
How about you? Do you have a tip of the week?
Yeah, I do. So I've been my day job consists of essentially dealing with other people's stuff and the things that they come up with and the things that I have to go run through. So what ends up happening is is someone will send me a screenshot of something and they'll say, okay, I'm having problems with this. This isn't an all the time thing, but this is my most recent issue that I had. Somebody sent me a screenshot and it was a screenshot of a SQL statement. And so it's like, here's some MySQL, SQL, and they took a screenshot of it and then they left. Like they just said, like, go fix this thing, and they left. And it was a long SQL statement. And I was like, okay, you want me to test this, but you sent it to me as a screenshot? Like, what am I supposed to do with this? I have to literally retype this SQL statement. So me being the nerd that I am, I'd much rather spend 45 minutes figuring out how to solve a 5-minute problem than to actually just retype the SQL statement.
It sounds like a developer.
Yeah, come on, because you know what's going to happen is I'm going to be on a show and I'm going to have to talk about something like this, a tool tip of the week, and I need to have a thing to talk about. So I ended up bringing this thing up. So I quickly went and said, like, okay, how do I take a thing off the screen and turn it into text? Essentially, like if you did like OCR on your phone.
OCR.
So am I gonna have to like pull my phone and like take a picture of the screen and then OCR it? I'm like, no, like I am not faxing something and then printing it and then faxing it again so that I can hand type it. No, it's not happening for me. So I started Googling around and I tried a whole bunch of products because at this point I'm now doing a product review because I got 45 minutes to burn on this little thing. So I came across this thing called EasyScreenOCR.com. And what EasyScreenOCR.com does is it gives you a little yet another menu item up on your menu bar up on your Mac. It also works on Windows as well, which is a very interesting thing for me because usually most of my things are all Mac only related. But what this thing does is it scans a section of the screen and will turn it into the actual text.
Nice.
And so I know this is like so edge case and so whatever, but there are times where somebody sends you some text and it's a big old block of text. And you're just like, oh, man, if I had that one little tool I could pull in my back pocket and be like, bam, done. That's it. I got it. I got it right there. It's all good to go. And I didn't have to retype anything.
Yeah.
Heck yeah, dude.
What's funny to me is I actually come from a print background. I was a graphic designer for 20 years and primarily in print. Right. And so OCR came from desktop well before it was on anybody's telephone. When we used to have to do pages of OCR for folks who just had printed documents, and then you'd have to painstakingly go back through and find all the places where the software wasn't good enough. So I'm assuming it's come a long way, and it did
good enough. The with anything, when you're copy and pasting off the web or off anything, and right. most developers know this, that fancy quotes versus normal quotes. I had to change all the fancy quotes. Me being the geek, I had a thing that I can just right click and say change fancy quotes into normal quotes. So I did that. Nice. And then I had a couple that were tildes versus single quotes. So okay. Like the font they used had like a tilde shape versus a single quote shape. So I had those I needed to fix as well. Periods, like it's looking at it going like, this is an English language. There has to be a period. This period needs to be a space after it. And I'm like, no, it's an object. There's multiple things, or it's a table. Why are you putting? So I had to go through and fix all those. So was it worth it? I don't know if it was worth it for a SQL statement, but I think if you were going to do it for something where there was a big block of text that you needed to grab and just be able to like quickly throw it together, in a pinch, it works out pretty good. I know that when I'm out walking around or something and I see a big block of text of something that I want to like, oh yeah, there's a national monument. Let me take a picture of that. And then later on, I want to like zoom in on it or look at it. There's plenty of OCR text that will kind of take care of that for you. So yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So I wouldn't recommend this, like, so this particular one that I'm telling you guys about, which is at easyscreenocr.com. It was really good, but they charge $9 a month for it. $9 a month. Like, you better OCR everything. Like you better like, buy it right now and then screenshot Dave right now and get Pixel Jar and then have it type out the Pixel Jar for you. Cause like, I don't know, $9 a month is like really steep for something like that. But if you use it a lot, I could totally.
I was just gonna say, I think it depends on the line of work, right?
But the free trial got me out of my jam. So that worked out pretty good.
Nice. Very good. So there is actually a Calendly, as I mentioned, has a free trial as well. So I think that's always a great tool. We actually don't offer a free trial for AdSanity, but we do offer a 30-day money back guarantee, no questions asked.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Like I said, man, if you get those videos going right and you really like juice up that SEO for all those videos of you explaining like, here's how to use the product, could actually become like an actual ad for the thing. And make sure you put links on all your stuff leading back to the site, and UTM codes and like get all crazy with it. And we've talked about those stuff. You have some homework. You can watch a couple previous episodes where we talk about some of these.
I better get started. There's 136 now, I'm told.
Right, I know, it's getting crazy.
Although I've seen quite a few. So,
well, Dave, I want to say thank you very much for coming and hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. It was super fun to sit here and talk about the stuff that you guys have going on over there. I've used your product on a bunch of different sites in the past, but I haven't had any recent ones that I like. Is anybody running any house ads? That's why I'm asking, like, what else can I apply this thing to that I'm not applying it to right now? And the second you said Beaver Builder, I was like, oh, well, okay. The church I work at, we could do house ads all over the place in there just for like the different ministries and different things that are going on and everything, departmental type things and all that sort of stuff. So I can definitely see that as being something that could be used. So thank you very much for hanging out with us. I really appreciate it. You can go over to our website over at wpwatercooler.com/subscribe, where you can learn how to subscribe to this content as well as all the other content that's going on over there. I do want to let you know that I am going to be at WordCamp Long Beach this weekend. So if you want to come hang out with me, I actually have stickers. I bought an insane amount of stickers. Last time I only bought a short run of stickers. It didn't work out well. People were very mad at me that I ran out. So I bought an insane amount of stickers, like a big bag now. So I'm going to be handing these bad boys out to everybody who has a water bottle or a laptop or anything like that and just be like, here you go. So feel free to come and hang out with me and do all that fun stuff. Thank you very much, Dave. Talk to y'all later. You have a good one. Thank you for our sponsors. See ya. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.